Well, morning everybody. Pastor Rob here, and just welcome for another noon-ish daily devotion through Immerse as we continue to go through the story of God and His people. Now, here at Immerse, we do what's called reading through the Bible in a way that helps us understand what's going on. And currently, we're in this thing called Beginnings, which is learning more about what does the beginning of the Bible have to say. How does God's plan put this all together? Why is there this Jesus person? Why are you watching right now on Facebook? And so we're reading through that together. Now we meet Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. over at Noah's Ark Cafe, right down in Bay Cliff. Take 646, take it all the way till you hit the water, can't miss. And there we gather together and talk about our readings, what we've watched on the devotions, and spend time asking questions. Did you learn something new? Are there questions that you want to seek more advice or learn more from? Has your relationship with God changed at all because of what you've read and talked about? And how will this impact your week? Again, this is all led by Jessica Saturday mornings. Well, our reading today continues our story with this person named Abraham. And again, yesterday's reading, I'd sum it up with one word: broken. The brokenness of our world, the brokenness of our own relationship with God, and yet somehow God works through it all. Now today, I really see a change in who Abraham is based on what we read. And it starts off that Abraham received a gift like none other, a son through his wife Sarah. Now again, he's now had his child, a boy named Ishmael, through a maidservant, but God made a promise to him that he would have a child through Sarah. And that child's name is Isaac. For she laughed at the idea that she'd ever have a kid. Well, I would make an argument that Abraham probably loved this child very much, probably more than his own relationship with God. An assumption. Well, one day, God asks Abraham, to sacrifice Isaac. And I'll tell you this, there's a lot of commentators on opinions and variations based on this reading. But what matters is, what we read in Scripture, is that Abraham is asked to give up his only son. His son from his wife. The one that's supposed to be all these generations from. Abraham is asked to give him up. So Abraham travels to Mount Moriah to give this offering with his son. And what's interesting here is we don't know where Mount Moriah is, but traditionally, we believe it's where Jerusalem is located today. Traditionally. And on the highest mount, on Mount Moriah, is where they go to build a place of sacrifice. The largest mount on Mount Moriah today is where the Temple Mount exists, where the temple of the Lord would be. Interesting so far. And as Abraham prepared his son, and what's interesting, it doesn't say anything about his son fighting against this or asking his father why. Instead, Isaac, as the son of Abraham, did what his father asked. And right as Abraham was about to sacrifice his son, the angel of the Lord speaks and tells Abraham, "Stop! Now that I know that you love the Lord and you will follow Him, spare your son." And what we find out is that there's a ram that was offered. Now you can look at this story, simply the story of Abraham and Isaac, and look at, wow, Abraham showed faith. And I would make an argument, really the first time Abraham actually stood up with his faith gumption, in a sense. Because so far we've read, he seems to either lie, not speak up, or let things happen. On this point, Abraham steps up in his faith. And we see that God works through that faith, both now through Isaac, but for the rest of our reading, when Abraham has to deal with certain situations, I believe this sacrifice, that going through this whole process, changed who Abraham was. And what's really cool as a Christian, I see this sacrifice, really God making a point to Abraham, the true blessing for the world. Through all the brokenness will take the sacrifice of a son. But it will not be the son of Abraham. will be the Son of God on that mount, on that place. He will die for all the brokenness. I think that's a really cool way of looking at that together. But it makes a point just how Abraham was changed through this process of a sacrifice of his son. So are we changed to sacrifice the Son of God. And we see that how Abraham sends off to get his son a wife, how Abraham seeks to find a place to bury his own wife when she dies, his attitude, the way he handles himself, there's a change. A lot like the change we see in disciples and in ourselves. And the last part, which is kind of interesting, you might be asking, reading through these stories, what is the whole big deal about Abraham buying a place to bury his wife? Because it seems like it's a lot of information between two people that shouldn't simply been, all right, he paid a price. Well, I think the reason why the details are in there is because it's making a point that the Hittite people that were there did not want Abraham to own land. Key phrase, own land. Abraham had herds. They migrated back and forth. But it wasn't his land. It was theirs. By purchasing a place for his wife, now Abraham owns land in the promised land that God gave. And I think there was a hesitation from the people to even allow that to happen. And a key phrase, and it might sound weird that it says it there, he paid the market price. What that reference to is probably Abraham paid a lot more than what was worth because of the scales of the marketplace. So just some tidbits there. And we see this weird transaction happen with Abraham's servant going to get Rebekah as a wife for Isaac, because he goes off to his wife's family, which would be cousins. FYI, these are cousins and nephews, to find a cousin as a wife for Isaac. In the family, and this guy named Laban, who's the brother of Rebekah, tries to delay it, accepts it, but doesn't want his sister to go. Well, in a couple days, we're going to read this Laban character again, how he likes to delay and mess around with things. So just, he comes up again. But he's the brother of Rebekah. Most likely, Rebekah's father is dead, Abraham's brother. And now, Laban is sort of giving her away to Isaac. But what I receive from today's reading, and I noticed through this journey, is Abraham changes as a man of faith. How he reacts, deals with all the things within our story together, which is kind of cool. So, we asked 4 questions at Immerse. Was there something that you learned that was new today? Maybe you didn't even know about some of the traditional locations and similarities between the sacrifice of Isaac and the sacrifice of Jesus. Or didn't realize how much wheeling and dealing is even within Scripture. Maybe you have questions. What does this mean for me about what Abraham was dealing with back then? What kind of God would ask for a sacrifice of a child? Good questions. How does this have a relationship with our Father in heaven? What does it mean for us that God works for all these things to have this happen? And does this make a difference in our life? I would say yes. And this is a difference that's been going on for the last 2,500, almost 3,000 years. A lot since the Bronze Age has this all been going on. But we have a relationship with Him. And I believe that, I share that because of the sacrifice in Jesus. Because that was the sacrifice that mended everything with God. Which means for us today, what does that mean to live our life then? Am I honest? And my feeling, my belief there is that this gives us a reason to share the good news. To have faith and trust in Him, for He is a good, good Father. A Father who we give thanks to and are just excited to as we go to celebrate Thanksgiving and just being together. Well, hey, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for taking time this afternoon to be a part of our daily devotion. You know what? I'd love to invite you to Noah's Ark, Saturdays, 8 a.m. If you're new, we will get you breakfast. It'll be covered. And it's a chance to be with other people as we just really just be in the Word together, but ask questions together and have discussions. Discussions which are much needed today. And if you're curious, check us out Sundays, 10:30, here on Facebook, but also over at Hometown Heroes here in Lake City. And we love the worship and be a part of you as we engage, grow, and share Jesus in our community relationships. We do this together because you know what? This is about relationships with Jesus. God bless today. And again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave comments in this video. And I love just to be in touch with you as we all grow together. God bless. Take care.